That should automatically start that. Alright, guys. We're going to start up the live stream. This has been pretty similar to what we've had the past couple of days. We're going to let some people come in. I'm going to give a little bit of a weather briefing on our tropical threat here. We'll bring on the current wind. So we can see our two little storms possibly impacting the United States. Unfortunately, we are going towards a not good trend here overall. And tough weather with the first. You're ready for that to jump on the stream. We're going to let some people get into the algorithm going. And then we'll get into the breakdown of all that we know, all we don't know, and how we can prepare here. Just make sure. Okay, for some reason, my iPad is not charging forever, whatever reason. Weather X. Okay, great. Be right back. Okay, cool. Gonna let some more people come in. Welcome in, everyone. Hopefully you're doing well. And okay, I guess we're just not gonna have the iPad. I don't know why this is not charging. Come on. Oh, I think it is a little. I might have fixed it. Welcome back, Tubbs. iPad's not charging. Okay, because it's being silly. Really? I just flipped it around and that worked? Okay, well. Welcome in, everyone. We're going to get this stream started here. If you are not aware, we have a tropical disturbance that is starting to form and is starting to look like a problem for the United States, specifically the southeast United States. Could start to see some impacts from the storm as early as Monday or Sunday, this coming Monday and Sunday. So it's really, really coming up close. Katie says 6-7. And I didn't get an alert. That's sad. TikTok's got to push it out. We might throw out a little alert in the Discord real quick, just to tag everyone. But yes, we are going to go over all of this stuff. A lot to break down here, as not only do I have worry for the direct impacts for this actual storm here, but I also have some kind of worries and concerns about the ongoing threat for flash flooding in a lot of regions that are kind of in line for this. So we're going to talk about all this stuff here in just 1 second. Just making a quick announcement on the Discord. We are indeed live. And we will break everything down. And there we go. We just alerted 400 people. Hopefully you guys got that. And yes, Invest 94L is looking concerning here in the just north of the Dominican Republic and Haiti here. We can take a look at this from our wind perspective here. You can see Tropical Storm Humberto is starting to strengthen, expecting to be Hurricane Humberto by the same time tomorrow. So go forward 24 hours, Hurricane Humberto will be off the coast, pretty much north of the Lesser Antilles. However, doesn't look like much, but this is actually our real problem I'm concerned about here. Tropical wave 94L that is poised to form within the next 48 hours with an 80% chance of formation with 48 hours as well. And this is what we're mainly concerned about, and I'll get straight to the point here. And this is why I should bring this one up. So these are what's called hurricane models. They are designated and kind of made just to focus on hurricanes and especially tailored to, predict where they're going to go and their strength. And you might start to see why I am so concerned about impacts. We've really shifted our full tone to this. Just take that little look in here. Where my cursor is where the storm is currently. It is forecasted, at least according to our current hurricane forecast models, to move up the Bahamas. This is hour 72, so Saturday kind of evening, Sunday morning, we have a storm sitting over the Bahamas. But take a look at how it accelerates. Hour 96 into Monday afternoon, kind of Monday evening range. We are now just off the coast of the Carolinas, and fortunately, most of these hurricane models have a direct impact into either Carolinas, Georgia, or I guess North Carolina, South Carolina, in that region. From the past model run, this has shifted a bit more northwest, so we actually had a model run where it went directly northward. Now we're having a little bit of a northwest turn here. and it is concerning. And we're going to talk about really the things the models are seeing, because of course anyone can kind of post this type of track here, but we're going to talk about why we are starting to see this trend and why I think this is going to be very concerning for the Southeast United States. There are many factors to play into this full kind of dance of factors and different things, and of course we've Hurricane Humberto behind the storm as well. And after a little bit of a brief overview, we're going to talk about these things, just a little bit more of a weather briefing in detail. Then we're going to have a Q&A session, so stick it around for the Q&A session. I'm going to keep an eye on chat generally right now, but we are going to talk about all the details that you guys need to know about, especially along the Carolinas. I even have some modeling up for possible storm surge that we could be talking about here. I know it might be a little bit early to talk about storm surge, but I do want to put it on everyone's mind here, especially for such a vulnerable part of the country, including for storm surge. So to talk about why this is happening, why is the trend of models, because there has been a major trend that we are getting more confident with tropical impacts. That is all because of our steering currents in the atmosphere. Hurricanes really don't have a steering wheel. They are all out on their own. They have a little bit of influence in where they can kind of go, but they are at the mercy of our upper level dynamics. And we're going to put on what's called our height anomaly, basically where we have low pressure in the atmosphere or high pressure. And all you need to know is hurricanes absolutely hate high pressure. It suffocates them. They run away from it as fast as possible. However, they love low pressure. Think about a marble that is sitting on a table. Your high pressure is a higher end of the table, so it's going to roll off. Your lower pressure is a lower portion of the table. And we're going to go through this. This is the latest European run, or excuse me, the latest American model run. We're going to look at different opinions and see what we're actually looking at here. And let's move this forward. So here's Tropical Storm Humberto, right where these coordinates are. Our actual current tropical wave is not designated yet. However, if we move it forward in time, you can already see it starts to pick up. And now you might start to see the problem. And how I just said the blue is the low pressure, the red is the high pressure. Look at that blue. We have an area, we have a cutoff low pressure that is just in the Southeast Carolinas region. And moving it forward, it kind of wanes a bit, but notice how a higher pressure, a ridge builds right kind of smacked where we want our kind of storm to exit. So this would be an exit lane for our storm. But however, look at all that red. It's acting as a wall and as a guide rail to guide our storm right into the Carolinas, according to the latest GFS model, which just ran an hour ago. That is our biggest trend that we've seen. Some of the models a couple of hours ago and even a couple of days ago had a gap between this high pressure. It was like a gateway for the exit. However, this exit now has formed into a higher pressure that is going to steer the storm into the Southeast United States, and that is looking at looking at the most likely outcome right now. So here we go. Let's talk about what type of strength we might be talking about here, because that's what we're seeing for kind of directional wise. And even on the Euro, I actually looked at this before we even hopped on. Same type of story, European model with the same type of guidance, where we have a nice unfortunately wall of high pressure to the northeast, kind of there. And I already getting a comment for very weak storm, and that is very misleading. And that is something that I like to say is the hardest part about predicting storms in our day of age with such good computer models, at least good generally from what we've had in the past, is strength is our weakness for prediction. And I like to boil it down to factors that can support very strong hurricanes or storms. And we'll start at the basics. This is tropical. This is our sea surface temperature anomaly. So above average temperature for the current times. For the current time period, we are expecting very warm water. However, right now it is significantly warm in this region. So this is the first problem that I see with saying we're going to have a very weak storm. The ocean disagrees with that hypothesis there as well. So you can see very strong and warm waters that could support a hurricane. And if we look at a few other ensemble members, there is a mix of ideas of what the strength could be. Let's zoom in. We're going to take a look at the the Google AI model, And actually, the latest model is kind of, I don't like the latest model here because it's really not agreeing with anything. Let's see if we got an 18Z out. Oh, yeah, we do. So 18Z is looking more like our consensus from what we've had. This is the latest Google AI model run, and lots of these bringing in a hurricane into the kind of northern portions of South Carolina, southern portions of North Carolina. Kind of backwards there. So Google AI says there is enough support, and of course, there could be a surprise here along wise. The Euro, we can look at Euro guidance, the European model guidance as well for kind of strength questions here. The Euro would be more of a better off case. However, there are a few members bringing in hurricane force strength. Those brighter colors, those pink, reds, and oranges are your hurricanes. However, the Euro is staying a little bit more weaker. But again, we have the very warm ocean content and a lot of time for change. So that's why I hate to say, oh well, now we have a storm coming to the United States, but it's gonna be weak. There is a lot of time to figure that out, and by the time we get to the Bahamas, we still have to get this storm fully formed and organized. Once we have that in mind, we'll have a little bit better idea about strength-wise as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that kind of brief overview. I don't think there's anything I exactly want to talk about right now until I answer some of your questions. But this is mainly going to be Q&A based stream here, so we're going to really let it up to be anyone has a question. We're going to open it up now, and if you wouldn't mind giving a like so we can get into the algorithm as well. This is a very major deal. And also we are live on YouTube as well. Cade, welcome to the stream. Hi, this is Arcade. Hopefully you're doing all right. Let me know what questions you guys have on YouTube as well. I live in Yorktown, Virginia. Anything for us? So you guys actually might see some precipitation from the storm if it does have the track it is currently forecasted to have. And I can show you a model that would show a good depiction of that. Again, we have lower confidence on that far beyond landfall. And it's still a lot of time for change. I don't think the landfall is guaranteed. However, it is a lot more confident than it was just 24 hours ago where we had the same stream. We had a lot of stuff going on out there as well. Will it produce tornadoes? It really depends. If it makes an onshore landfall, we could see tornadoes as well as of course the strong winds. And let's take a look at the precipitation depiction by the European model. This is the 12Z run, and look at that. This is, I believe, let's read the date, September 29th. This is Monday at 2 p.m. So look, a very strong tropical storm or possible hurricane. Looking at the pressure levels, we're talking probably just on the fringe of hurricane level, pushing in and then eventually making landfall. But look at all that rain. The rain bands really set up just north of the actual circulation, bringing on rain for possibly days. And then we're moving into kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the next day. And lots of rain. So this is what I was talking about, how not only am I concerned about landfall for wind and storm surge, but also the rain event that could be happening across the Appalachian mountain chain. Unfortunately, this is a very similar kind of time period to where we had Hurricane Helene, of course, impact some of these same exact areas that we're now looking at here. And that is what is also a secondary concern to me, is not only do we have, trying to forecast where this hurricane's going, also it's going to bring a lot of moisture as well. And thank you, Ria, for the donations. Really appreciate that. What time is the tropical update? Well, for the next National Hurricane Tropical Update, it's going to be 11 p.m. They just was updated at 7:18 local time, EDT, with a 80% chance of development within the next 48 hours, a 90% chance of development within the next 7 days. What category prediction? It's really hard to say. Really hard to say. I unfortunately don't think we cannot rule out a strong hurricane in this sense because of how warm the waters are. Do you think Tampa, Florida will get any rain from it? Possibly. According to current models, I'd be surprised if something really made it that far significantly. Of course, monitor the forecast for any changes. If we have anything that comes and hugs the east coast of Florida, that is where I could start to see some rainfall in the Tampa region. Is it going to hit Rhode Island? I think Rhode Island is pretty far out of the question right now, especially with current models. I'd monitor the progress of this forecast, but right now, it'd be a huge shock for that to happen. I think the upper East Coast, the northern East Coast, could start to relax a little bit. However, the southeast is in the kind of crosshairs of this storm here. Will there be inland tornadoes or water spouts? There could be a combination of both, depending on how strong the storm is. When will it turn into a tropical depression? We actually can take a look at the current satellite imagery of that tropical zone, tropical storm here. So it's struggling right now. We are way far out. Let's go a little bit closer. Let me bring down the number of scans to 50. So we're really far out from, oh, there we go. So you can see how the storms are almost all over Haiti and the Dominican Republic right now. That is going to prevent it from fully organizing yet because there's so much land interaction. There's a lot of mountainous terrain there. There's a lot of friction, so to really form tight centers of circulation in tropical storms, hurricanes, and complete circulations, which you need that full wind go across the circulation to get that tropical depression, tropical storm designation. We're going to have to wait for it to lift up north or west a little bit to get avoidance from this kind of action here of the land interaction. And once it gets out of there, that's where we can start to have an issue. What about the central East Coast, the Mid-Atlantic? Mid-Atlantic, I'd say monitor the forecast for especially the outer bands on the northern side. If we have a very strong storm, you think of that onshore flow north of the circulation. That is where we can see some impacts, especially lots of wind and surf-wise. Surf is going to be rough across the entire East Coast, not only because of this storm, but also because of future major Hurricane Humberto. Not only is that storm going to produce large swells across the eastern United States, but then we're going to have future hurricane or tropical storm Imelda here as well. Yeah, South Florida should get any major impacts, hopefully, according to the current forecast and my level of confidence right now. I don't think major impacts are possible at this time for the southern portions of Florida. Of course, monitor the situation very closely as the actual forecast is very close to your kind of region there. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's see if we can hit 1,000 likes so we can get into the algorithm and get the update here. A little bit of a Q&A. Appreciate the questions. Keep up the questions as well. Got a question on YouTube. How high will the storm surge be if you didn't say that already? So great question on YouTube. And that big question can really only be solved by how strong is this storm it can be. And I have a website to bring up to you guys. This is the National Hurricane Center Storm Surge Risk Map. So what you can do on this website is you can select whatever category storm and look across your region and see what the storm surge predicted inundation is. So do we have any specific questions for category right now, or should we just do general? We could just take a look at this, but this really goes to put some light on how vulnerable this area is. And this is a pretty interesting website to take a look at. Thank you guys for hitting 1,000 likes. Appreciate that. And let's take a look at a Category 1 hurricane. So let's say 94L turns into a Category 1 hurricane, and it makes landfall somewhere across the southeast United States. Let's take Charleston for our first example. Looking in Charleston, you can see a lot of colors on this map. What the colors mean is blue is water above dry ground less than 3 feet. Yellow is greater than 3 feet. Orange is greater than 6 feet. And red is greater than 9 feet there. So take a look at there. This is, you can really see how we have a lot of region, especially some downtown region, underneath already pretty major storm surge from just a Category 1 hurricane. And the ceiling on this actual storm is very high for the situation here because the heat water content is so warm. If we have decent conditions, that is where we could have some major hurricane stuff start to work its way into the discussions here. So really main point here is lots of the regions along the eastern and southeast United States are very vulnerable to storm surge. Does anyone have any specific areas they want to check out while we're on the storm surge risk map? Again, this is not for the current storm. This is only for a simulated storm. So if you have an area you want to look at and a simulated category, you can go ahead and put it in the comments. Looks like we got Myrtle Beach. So scooting our way up to Myrtle Beach, you can see lots of protection in Myrtle Beach from a Category 1 hurricane. So it looks like there is a decent amount of protection for at least deep inundation from a Category 1 hurricane. But of course, we work our way up to major hurricane status in Myrtle Beach. That's where you can start to see some pretty significant inundation past the kind of protection here. Especially behind, there is water creeping in behind in these kind of throughways here. But yeah, once you get to major hurricane status, I think Myrtle Beach is pretty well protected against kind of weaker hurricanes. But if you get into some very significant hurricanes, let's say, a Cat 5 would be very shocking, but obviously that would be devastating no matter where the area would be, bringing water to the entirety of Myrtle Beach, especially the downtown region there. Please don't spam the chat, guys. Mississippi is not in the risk area for this storm. Some good news. Also, if you have a location, if you could give me your state as well, that'd be great. Seeing some people on YouTube. Welcome in, welcome in. We're doing a joint stream today on YouTube and TikTok. Appreciate the support. All the likes really help the algorithm and help to get the word out about the severe weather and the hurricane risk for the southeast United States. Let's go bring up this map again. Again, we are currently in a Q&A session, and then I can take a look at some kind of risk maps for you guys overall. Looks like we got a question for James Island. I'm going to try to get it in order, guys. There's a few of you guys here as well, so appreciate that. And let's look at James Island in kind of Charleston regions. Let me go back to the storm surge risk map. We can take a look at the storm surge risk map for a good amount of time here. This is a good graphic to kind of get a grasp on exactly what may happen in the worst case scenario for a landfalling kind of tropical system here. So looking at James Island here, you start to get some major inundation, especially down to the northern portions of James Island. You can see in those oranges and yellows, that's where we're talking about 3 to 6 feet of storm surge inundation, including wave action. This is just from a Category 1 hurricane. Looks like some upper levels of the island do stay dry, but if you move up to Category 3 hurricane strength, of course, this entire region becomes underneath water. So that is where you get very concerned. I mean, this entire region is very vulnerable for storm surge if we get anything into the major hurricane category sense, where you start to worry about stuff like this. So let's move on to a different area. Again, we are currently reviewing simulated storm surge from a simulated hurricane, not the one we're currently looking at, but examples of ones where you can get some sort of semblance of, worst case scenario, if a category blank hits my area, how bad can the water be? And obviously storms like these mean business, so they can have some major impacts as well. Let's head to Savannah, Georgia for the next kind of line here. We'll go down to Category 1 strength, moving south here, right up to here. And you see Savannah is also another region that could see some issues from any landfalling kind of tropical storm. Looks like the main metro area is pretty safe from at least a Category 1 hurricane, but you move up to Category 3, and you can start to see the water starts to rise in that region as well. Lots of the area must be having some decent seawalls out in that region, some protection from Category 3 hurricane. But of course, you move it to the worst case scenario, you get some major inundation across many populated areas as well. So you get a wide spectrum of impacts depending on how strong the actual hurricane is, and that could be major issues, of course, if we have any direct landfall in the Savannah, Georgia region. Could this storm become a major hurricane? I definitely think we can't take it off the table yet for a major hurricane just because of heat content and physics alone. There is a lot of heat, a lot of available energy just waiting in this region for issues here, and if they do materialize, it does organize, then it's off to the races for this storm as well. What could Charlotte, North Carolina see? So, again, these aren't really forecasts we're talking about. We're talking about possibilities. Charleston would 100% should be looking at the forecast right now, just because you are in the zone where almost all of the models are saying, these are our hurricane forecast models, all the models are saying you're going to have at least some sort of impacts. Again, there is time for shifts and changes in the direction of the storm. And I think the biggest question right now of this exact storm is intensity. Intensity is a huge range right now, from some models saying major hurricane to some models only bringing a tropical storm to mild tropical storm into the region. So you definitely have to be watching. I also would recommend in the Carolinas and the Georgia coastal regions, I would start preparing materials and preparing your things Get food, get water. Your hurricane preparedness kit should be ready by tomorrow. I believe that'll be a good timing, so you can have at least 96 to 72 hours to evacuate if needed. If things continue to move downhill and we get more confidence, you can take some more serious action. But I think actions and preparations should start being underway as early as tomorrow, especially if we get a forecast cone out here by the National Hurricane Center. And what we've seen and what I've seen on the models is our confidence is growing. Some sort of storm is going to hit the southeast United States between Sunday and Tuesday. The big questions right now, how intense and who exactly is going to see the worst. That is what we're discussing right now, and we're keeping it up for the Q&A session. Are any of the reliable models saying major hurricane? Well, the deterministic models are not really helpful right now because there is still a lot of factors to play, but reliable models like the European is saying there are some chances of the ensembles bringing in a strong hurricane. The Google AI, which has been typically aggressive this kind of year, we'll bring it to our latest forecast cycle, has strong storms in this region as well. So I think it's definitely not off the table for strong storm. Also, our models this season, I like to not only just take models for verbatim, but also bring our background information into here. Models have been typically undershooting performance for strength-wise on tropical storms and hurricanes this summer. So it's this summer and into the hurricane season, into the later hurricane season. Something to keep an eye on for this situation like this, because if something surprises us, time will be very limited to react to something surprising as well. Appreciate the follow, Roblox, Alien. Glad to have you guys here. If you're enjoying the stream, you wouldn't mind giving it a like. See if we can reach. I'm going to give you guys a big goal. If you're just hanging out, 5,000 likes would be amazing, so we get the algorithm going, get the word out for this Q&A session. But again, keep your questions coming, guys. Lots to talk about here, and a lot to monitor the forecast on as well. All right, so we got a question on YouTube. Still wanting to know about what will happen to Fort Lauderdale if it gets hit. We can go down there into Fort Lauderdale. And I think we can take off direct impacts for the south portions of Florida. Just according to all models right now, we're pretty sound on that forecast. Of course, monitor the forecast because a storm this close to you guys is something to monitor. So zooming in, too far south, to Fort Lauderdale, you see very good protection in this region. This is for a Category 1 hurricane. Obviously, these coastal regions are no stranger to very strong tropical storms and hurricanes. So I'm sure there is plenty of infrastructure to avoid possible storm surge. But of course, same situation across the United States. You march it up in kind of intensity now with a major hurricane Category 3. You start to get some neighborhoods that are very close to the coastal regions getting some inundation of about 3 to 6 feet. And if we make it all the way go up, actually some pretty well-protected areas, really coastal regions, seeing some inundation of 6 to 9 feet in that region. So the actual eastern coast of Florida, southeast coast, is pretty well protected. Of course, that negates wind and rainfall. So this is kind of our seawater flooding for possibilities and simulations of storm surge. Let me go out here and let me go to this again so you guys can see all the things we are watching. Appreciate all the follows too, guys. Again, we are on our way to 50,000 followers right now. It is really cool. We're getting pretty close, guys. Really appreciate the support. Of course, we appreciate the questions here. Let me see if I can get another question here. Charlotte, North Carolina. I think Charlotte, North Carolina should be watching the situation, especially for significant rainfall from a storm like this. So if a storm that buries itself, we'll bring out the track again, that buries itself in the Appalachian mountain chain, we can have a similar situation to kind of the Helene situation where we had just rain after rain. This one, we might also have a predecessor rain event, which is very concerning for me. I do have this actually up right now. We have a rainfall forecast. Let's switch to our eastern regional area. We'll switch to the mid-Atlantic. Hopefully we're far south enough to see. Yeah, okay, so this is pretty good. Let's look at this in the future. and get a little bit of an idea of what we might see from rainfall if we get direct impact. So before the actual hurricane even sets in, we do get ground moistening rainfall from tropical moisture that's already in place within the kind of Carolinas and Georgia region. So there we go. You already got 1 to 2 inches before the event, but then you have a little bit more rain before the actual event. And then moving forward in time, this is where I get concerned about flooding being overlooked yet again for forecast. So this is Tuesday. Now you have some areas working their way into 10 inches of rainfall over the kind of course of a couple days. And the unfortunate thing with this forecast is the actual low pressure of the storm gets cut off, and you can start to see where we get some major issues. And a forecast like this makes me concerned, where we have forecast rainfall rates in the 15 to 20 inch range with isolated areas, especially with the mountain ranges there. You can see some more enhanced rainfall as well. So don't forget about the rain inland. I know that's probably a lot more on people's minds now since we've had some experience with this, but here I've not seen this online a lot about the possibility if this storm gets cut off and sits here. We had rain before it came here, and now we have a major issue with rain right here in North Carolina and the northern portions of South Carolina. Of course, this entire thing can shift depending on our actual track of the hurricane or a tropical storm. Let me answer some more questions here. Lauderdale, especially the coastal regions, I'll be watching Lauderdale coastal impacts, so high waves, rough surf, possibly outer bands if something forms. Definitely keep an eye on the forecast. Southern Florida, I don't think you guys should forget about the forecast, but I can say your risk is starting to decrease. But again, guys, this is what you're looking at right now. People are joining the stream. 180 of you guys. We have 20 inches of rain possibly forecasted for the Carolinas, depending on where our future tropical storm / hurricane goes. And try to spread the word on this decently. Of course, we'll be sharing it here on Rainy Day Weather, because the main thing that you guys will see online is going to be the forecast cone. But that doesn't count for our 12 inches of rainfall that's going to be in the center of the state of North Carolina. So keep an eye on that as well. Not going to expect any tropical threat for Mississippi. And where is it heading? Well, current models producing by the hurricane models forecasting kind of in this direction into the southeast United States. Still a lot of time for shifts in this forecast, but the United States is running out of time to not see impacts whatsoever. I think that is almost off the table where we won't see impacts at all. Unfortunately, we are going in a bad trend. The trend is not our friend, and I can actually show you this trend. What I'm talking about, forecast model to forecast model, because our forecast models get updated every 6 hours, or at least most of the big ones. So let's pull this up. Let's see how it's been resolving it, because if we look at the trends, we also can kind of get a clue of what we might see within the next coming run. So we'll start with the GFS. We're going to do a little bit back. So we're going to do, like, let's say right now, landfalling hurricane, at least is what it's forecasting for. Let's do a trend GIF. This forecast out for the last 15 times. So the GFS going back 6 hours at a time for 15 runs. Let's look at this together. This will be pretty interesting to take a peek at. So you can see at first a lot of jumping around because we're far out in time. But as we get closer and closer, the jumps become less and less. And look at how it's solving its resolution. So we get the Humberto on the right side of your screen, and then there's 2 runs in a row where we have the South Carolinas region getting a direct impact. So look at how it's solving the solution. Latest run bringing it a little bit further eastward compared to the latest run, but not much of a jump. And the less jumps between runs, the more confidence we have, and that is why we are gaining confidence of the southeast impacts. We'll let this be on the screen for a little bit here. Let me answer some more questions here right now. Maybe also make sure you guys hydrate, guys. Hopefully you're doing well. Tough says, look at what the National Hurricane Center said on the Invest 94L when you click on the disturbance. Yeah, well, we can look at that right now, guys. So official kind of description by the National Hurricane Center. I'll read this out loud, even though you guys probably are very capable at reading, but who wants to read on 8 o'clock on a Thursday night? Not me, but I'll read it for you. Showers and thunderstorms are showing signs of organization in association with the tropical wave located near Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos Islands. An area of low pressure is expected to form along the wave tonight or early Friday when it moves near the southeast Bahamas. That's when it will get its name, by the way, tomorrow. This low is expected to become tropical depression when it is in the vicinity of the central northwestern Bahamas late Friday. So that's when we're going to get its tropical depression name kind of situation going on there. Could be as early as tomorrow morning. Looks like we're talking about tomorrow night as well. Late Friday, and then track northwestward or northward towards the southwestern Atlantic. Interest in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Bahamas should monitor the progress of the system. Regardless of development, heavy rains, gusty winds are likely across the region during the next couple of days. While there is significant uncertainty in long-range track and intensity of the system, especially the intensity, I have to say intensity I do agree with, the chances of wind, rainfall, storm surge impacts for a portion of the southeast coast are increasing. Interest in that area should monitor the progress of the system. So there you go. That is the National Hurricane Center statement as of 7:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. And as you can see, they're not ready to pull the trigger on the southeast being fully, in preparation phase or an action phase, and that is totally understandable because there is still a lot of unknown, especially on our intensity side. And that big last sentence is really the highlight there. Good point by Tufts. Is it is increasing. The risks are on the rise for the southeast to see all those things that come with tropical systems, especially the storm surge and the rainfall are what's mainly concerning to me. Is this hitting Atlanta? Too early to tell. I would be watching it there, especially for the rainfall and somewhat kind of inland windfall as well. Kind of reminds me of Hugo. I remember Hugo kind of. We can look at the kind of repeat, so we can kind of see what you're looking at. Hurricane Hugo, National Service. We can look at 2014, and actually pretty similar track. Look at that. You pull that on large, so it would be just a little bit more further south, but pretty similar track within Category 4 South Carolina landfall. Similar kind of time period here. This was 1989, so I don't know how many people in the chat have been alive for that one. Let me know if you were alive or were not alive for Hugo. I can say I was not, so as a college student, but something to learn off. We can definitely look at our kind of past, what we saw from that hurricane. But of course, this region hasn't seen a direct impact in a while from a strong hurricane, so it's always something to keep an eye on. Not alive. Let's not say Hugo, I was alive for it. Yeah, I mean, of course, we would not want that. That would not be good for, of course, a major hurricane landfall coming across the southeast United States. Let's move back to our kind of monitoring progress here. Keep the questions coming, guys. We are currently in Q&A phase. I do apologize if it takes me a little bit longer to get to your question. We're talking about everything here, but again, if you're just joining in, because guys are some new round people, we are talking about the increasing tropical storm or hurricane threat on the United States coast. And this is our current best guess and kind of best forecast of where we might think this is going. Lots of time for shifts in direction north or south. And a lot of time to really pin down what our intensity forecast is, because there is a lot of disagreement on that major detail. My parents were kids. Wow, you must be young then. Are models shifting more left, and is Florida at threat? Florida should be monitoring the progress, because if we have a storm come up the coast, let's say it comes further west here, that's where you can start to have some issues in Florida. So monitor the progress. I think Florida's direct impact risk is decreasing. However, not off the table yet. However, the good news is decreasing. That's where our current update is for Florida. Wow. Currently, so I was 11 in Hugo. So you remember Hugo pretty well then, I'm assuming. I was 14. I remember it was yesterday. We were out of power for weeks. Yes. So we can really see how the potential for the storm could be pretty impactful across this region. Yeah, not a lot of room for error on this forecast, as slight changes could make huge impact changes anywhere across the coast. I don't love how every day it's shifting more and more my way. Yeah, the latest model runs have shifted a little bit more northwest towards the Georgia kind of South Carolina region there. Ooh, gosh. I got a question on YouTube that's in Spanish, but let me translate it real quick. That is the beauty of translation. So give me 1 second. We'll answer. We are live currently on YouTube and TikTok, whatever you guys prefer. But I'd like to have the chat open here. So 1 second, Jay. I am just translating your message so I can give it a little bit of an answer here. And you're typing out a lot, so give me 1 second. Jay asks in Spanish about why rain bands don't move north in Puerto Rico in hopes for strong just rains. Wait, just translate Jay's. Okay, 1 second. I'm getting more of a look here. But again, guys, if you're just joining in, this is our current hurricane model prediction for the upcoming storm. And then... So, if you're talking about... I think we've lost any content. Oh, gosh. Wow, look at that. So, this is actually all thunderstorm associated with our low pressure that's all the way over here. So, center of low pressure is right about right here. So, a tropical wave that is still producing some very heavy showers on the western side of Puerto Rico. And all those showers over there in kind of north of you, Jay, are moving northward, so out of the region because they're being dragged along with this tropical wave as well. Maybe he's currently in Puerto Rico. What is the strength of it when it hits Charleston? So that is a big question. Our strength forecast is not well fleshed out yet. I can tell you the ceiling is high, though. We're talking about high impact event is ceiling. Floor is right around tropical storm force strength. So not too impactful, but definitely notable. And we're talking about southeast. So the actual track can shift, and that will change impacts, but the actual intensity is something we need to nail down over the next 48 hours. The big thing is intensity is hard to track before the actual center of circulation is fully formed. So by tomorrow night, we'll have more information on intensity. Hopefully you'll have better direction on exactly where this thing is going. But rapidly developing forecast, and I do believe the southeast, especially the Carolinas and the Georgia coast, could start preparing now for possible impacts within the next kind of 4 to 5 day range. It might even be a little bit less than 4 to 5 days now. So if you have anything that will be like longer than 3 days to complete, and you're thinking about it, it might be might be a time to start to do that as well. Should Charlotte, North Carolina watch this? Yes, because of rainfall, kind of far inland. Let's look at the possible rainfall by the latest Euro model run right here. Look at this rainfall prediction for the next week. This is 20 inches across many regions in North Carolina, and that it goes to show why I'm concerned about also inland threats for this storm as well. Got a good question. Will it hit the Bahamas? Yes, this tropical wave is expected to get over the Bahamas. Almost guaranteed to see tropical storm force winds, very rough surf, and very heavy downpours within the Bahamas. The actual storm is forecasted to strengthen around you guys. So conditions will deteriorate, especially into Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. Yes, that is also Virginia in very major rain totals. Again, this kind of slot of rain you guys are seeing has time to shift north or south, but the actual amount of rain is something that really should be stressed here. Is we could see very large rainfall amounts, and it's something that's quite overlooked sometimes with actual with actual storms like this. So another question from YouTube: any chance it comes towards the northeast of Alabama? Rainfall wise, I think there is definitely a chance. Jay over there, that's a different J, by the way. That's Jay. So definitely be weather aware there, just in case for possible rainfall causing some issues here. My sis, excuse me, my voice is dying. My sis is there in the Bahamas and is supposed to come home Monday. Will flights be canceled? Oh gosh, Monday. Maybe. There's a few models that have the storm stalling out, so there is a chance that flight will be canceled. So keep an eye on that as well. Rutherford County, North Carolina, should we be concerned? We're still recovering from Helene. Yes, I would be watching the storm very closely in Rutherford County, especially because Unfortunately, another very large rainfall event could be possible with this storm. It's something that we are monitoring very closely because I know the same region, of course, 1 year ago, almost to the day, where we saw Hurricane Helene drop immense amount of rainfall. This could be an issue. Of course, these rainfall rates right now, according to the Euro, and it's a little far out, but about 20 inches of rain possibly within a week. Excuse me, guys, for just getting a quick bite of water. My voice is somehow dying. We're trying to revive right now. If you guys are enjoying the stream, let's set the like goal of 5,000 likes if you have fast fingers. I shout out the top supporters right now. Thank you, Blue Angels, for the roses. Really appreciate that. And thank you, Cool Cats, for being number 1, and So Funny for being number 3. So if you like the stream a ton, you can be on top of that leaderboard, and I give it a little shout out. It just helps the little interaction. Also helps the algorithm so we can get the word out, because this is something we should be concerned about. Of course, we don't want to be fear-mongering here. I'm just trying to give you guys the information, what we know, what we don't know, and how you guys can prepare for what is going to happen in the coming days. Should I worry in Orlando? I'd be wary of outer bands in Orlando, depending on exact track. Again, the further west the storm is, basically the exponentially more impactful it is for Florida. If it is all the way on the eastern side of this track, then I'd say Florida probably is not going to see any impacts other than coastal ones, like a little bit of coastal flooding, maybe some kind of larger waves. However, it gets closer, then you can start to see outer bands, some heavy downpours, and a little bit of wind as well. Is Jersey going to be good? Jersey be monitoring the forecast. However, the chances for impact in the upper northeast and mid-Atlantic region are starting to drop, other than the rainfall risk for the south mid-Atlantic region. Can you check winds? Yes, we can actually check winds. Let's go back. Right now, I think the best model, at least the best deterministic model, in my opinion, is sitting to be at the Euro, which is bringing in a decent, strong tropical storm to hurricane. Let's move in. We're going to move into 10 meter velocities. So taking a look at here, this is 8 p.m. on the 29th. So this is 8 p.m. on Monday. And here we go. We have a storm reaching into the 40. This is knots, right? Yes, 44 knots, which is times 1.4. Do a little carry over the 6. That's like 60 to 70 mile per hour winds coming into the Carolina region. Moving it forward, you can see maybe even a sliver of hurricane force winds right in that region where my cursor is, right here, right above those coordinates. And that it would not be good. And this is just one deterministic model. According to the ensemble models, there are chances for higher end and lower end. So there's a wide spectrum right now. So don't take this as gospel. This is only one output. Has a lot of time to change, especially on the intensity. And of course, the actual impacts drastically change with intensity. We could go one model range back, and you can see a little bit of a weaker storm, a little bit more further west, but this is the latest one. And take a look at Humberto. This is Humberto down here, by the way. We put this a little bit more in motion. Look about Humberto. The good news is I think our high pressure to the north will break, and Humberto will avoid us. I think that's a pretty solid forecast for right now. Of course, keep an eye on it as well. And I don't think they'll fuse. So actual interaction is looking a little bit less likely right now because the forecast is for Imelda to take a kind of north run or sprint per se towards the northwest into the southeast United States. Thank you, Matt, for the follow. Appreciate all that support, guys. We've reached 28 new followers, and we're getting very close to that goal of 5,000 likes. Thank you, So Funny, for being the top contributor so far to that goal. Cool Cats number 2 and Blue Angels number 3. When we're talking about Monday night, Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon is when you might start to see impacts depending on how fast the storm moves. Earliest impacts, I think, will be Monday morning. That's at the very earliest, with some being a little bit later as well. Really need to know if this will impact Long Islanders. Coastal impacts, like waves, are possible. However, the chances for actual direct impacts is on the downtrend for the upper northeast and the northern eastern coast. We can even look at the rainfall forecast. According to the Euro latest model, is some rainfall, but actually it's not even associated with tropical weather there. Let's bring it back. Where were we just at? Let's go. We can do a little bit more analysis. Keep the questions coming, guys. Again, we're just in a Q&A session right now. We'll bring up this National Hurricane Center website. This is official government. What is going to happen? What we know, what we don't know, and keeping a very close eye on all factors here at Rainy Day Weather. While we're waiting for just a few more questions, we'll do a quick intro. I'm a student meteorologist, Ethan Myers. I run Rainy Day Weather on all platforms, so you have a specific one. Let me know what questions you guys have. I really like this interaction between you guys, and you have shown amazing support on TikTok and other platforms. My goal is to give you guys with the information, what we know, what we don't know. Also use my background as a third-year meteorology student to enhance the forecast, tell you if the models are showing something crazy, or, and just be here to discuss and have an open conversation about this stuff. This is a very unique opportunity because, of course, most of the meteorologists we have, unfortunately, don't have the time, or, we can't have this one-on-one, but this is a unique opportunity where we can have a little one-on-one. And, of course, there's always going to be someone saying 6-7 in the chat and unk because of the tsunami stream that I think that will forever hold. And we got a question on YouTube. Appreciate the three people watching on YouTube. Hey there, Mr. Storm says. He said very worried about Imelda. That is exactly what we're talking about. And I am also worried about Imelda as well. I think it's Imelda. Technical National Hurricane Center pronunciation is Imelda. That will be our next named storm, and almost 100%, 90% chance of being this tropical wave right here. Erica say, hey, I follow you on Facebook. First time finding you on TikTok. I love your work. Very easy to understand. Really appreciate the kind words, Erica. Trying to get the Facebook a little bit more up to speed, but it's been fun. TikTok's algorithm is quite interesting, and getting them all worked out. Appreciate the support on all those channels. We got our Mr. Storm has a good question saying, thoughts on the HWRF 12Z going pretty strong. Well, let's take a look at that exact model. I don't know if I've seen that exact one. I believe that's the hurricane model. HWRF parent. Let's do Invest 94. So these are hurricane models, and here's 12Z. And moving forward in time, this is a hurricane model. I do want to say we are very on the edge of the actual hurricane model. This is bringing a Cat 2-ish, Cat 2-3 hurricane into the southeast United States. So, of course, that's a pretty aggressive model run. And a little bit further east than our current other consensus. Has this ran yet? I don't think so. No, it's the 18Z hasn't ran yet, so we'll have to look at a different opinion. That really goes to show our ceiling for this event is very, very high. Because of the possible heat there. The heat content in the ocean can support a strong hurricane, and that was what we were worried about. What website this is? This is currently a Tropical Tidbits. It's Pennsylvania good? Yeah, I think Pennsylvania is hanging in there for avoiding impacts. Thank you, Erica, and thank you, Wendy, for the follow. Appreciate that. That's really crazy. You got into the algorithm to see me on TikTok, following on Facebook as well. Thank you guys all for those follows. Really appreciate that. Keep the questions coming. We got a question. What is the European model saying? Let's go over there. That's exactly all. We have all these websites up, so we can take a look at all this stuff. Actually, just want to go to global. Let's see if I can get. Well, actually, we're just on it right now. Okay, so we don't have. I think the 18Z is actually running right now. So looking at the current forecast by the Euro, we got a tropical storm forming just northeast of Florida. Kind of reaching strong to weak tropical storm force strength by the time it gets to the Carolinas. Definitely more on the conservative side, at least this latest run. Moving it back a run. Let's see if it has any different opinion. Okay, the latest run just completely whiffed on it, so that's odd. I don't think that one is definitely a mishap. Let's go to a different view here. I'm actually surprised. Let's go to lower dynamic, or let's go to precip. And let's go to eastern United States. So there's a little bit of a better view. All that precipitation, though. I think for this storm, at least this case from the Euro, the main threat here would be that tremendous rainfall that just sits over the states for days and days. So multi-pronged threat. Even if we don't get a strong hurricane or tropical storm, we still could have a storm that just stalls and cuts off right there and just conveyor belts moisture out. Is the Google AI model still looking scary? We can actually hop over there. Weather Labs. I should pop up. Yeah, there we go. And here we go. let's take a look at Google AI, at least the latest model run. This is the 12Z. I'm surprised they don't have the 18Z on here. Let's see if they do. They might. No, they don't. Not yet. Not yet. Should be pretty soon. Actually, so I have a campus weather shift at 10 o'clock. I was thinking about going on the shift, so taking a break from the stream, and waiting. There are models that run around 10 to 11. Then actually hopping back on for a little bit of a late night stream. Late night, but a little brief stream to go over the 18Z models with everyone. So if you're interested in that, I will be probably live a little bit later tonight around 11 to 12, probably 11:30, 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you give a follow, we'll be back live for that to analyze firsthand. We'll watch it together, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on the next model run because, of course, things change, and things can very rapidly change from model run to model run. So let's take a look at our forecast by the Google AI. It looks like Google AI wants to give major hurricane Humberto by Monday. So this is currently Monday. A little bit of a slower forecast than some of our other ensembles. Looks like we have a tropical storm just east of like the core Bahama region, moving it forward in time. Decent amount of consensus. Now we're starting to lose consensus, at least time-wise. Some models bringing a faster storm, some models hanging back slower, moving it back even further. Now we're within 5 days. Again, very slow compared to our other models right now. I think that is a little conservative for speed. 5 days from now, we still have a tropical storm, now a strong tropical storm east of the kind of region of Florida, and then some impact the Carolinas and some hang around, and then we start to lose consensus very much so. So right now, the main consensus is something really close to the United States about Monday to Tuesday. What is going on? We're currently looking at tropical storm or hurricane possibly impacting the southeast United States. Yeah, and is it hitting maybe? Yes. Oh, hitting Myrtle. There is a chance for Myrtle Beach. I'd be watching the forecast very closely for possible impacts there. Let's go back to the National Hurricane Center website. Is Jersey going to be good? Yes. Jersey is a very low risk right now. Monitor the forecast for any very big shocks. However, at the current state, New Jersey's risk has been tapering off. DC weather for next weekend. Thoughts? Oh gosh. Well, honestly, it has a big challenge. It has a big question mark involved with this, because if we have a tropical storm that is kind of south of you guys, you actually have a huge increase of rain. Even without this system, I think we're gonna have a lot more of an active pattern in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic region. So expect a couple of days with rain in the Washington D.C. region. What about Charleston? Charleston should be watching the storm very closely. As we continue onwards. Direct impacts are definitely on the table as we continue to watch the storm here. And of course, Charleston's a very vulnerable place to storms like this, so you need to be watching the forecast very, very closely. You might even want to start preparing in the Carolinas and the Georgia coast. I know that might be a little early to say, but preparation might help you, especially because we have a storm that may form so closely to the United States, dwindling down your lead time on storms. So if you have any things that, at least in my mind, if it takes you longer than 3 to 4 days to complete, I'd recommend doing it as soon as possible. If you have any preparations, or like, okay, I need at least 3 days before I leave, I do it tomorrow in the southeast United States. Humberto is not going to affect the Puerto Rico region, other than some very large waves on the northern coast of Puerto Rico. I'm in North Carolina. I'm going to tomorrow to prep. See, that's a great idea. And hey, the worst thing that can happen is you prep, and then you are prepared, and then we have some great news, and we get a storm that just narrowly misses, and it goes off, and we say goodbye to it. Now you protect yourself. The flip side of that is, you protect yourself, and now you're fully prepared for if something does bad, something that bad does happen. Now you're ready to go. You've done what you can. This is kind of the main goal of Rainy Day Weather is we're going to extend your guys' lead time on stuff like this. We're going to tell you what we know, what we don't know. There is still plenty of time for things to change. No direct impacts are guaranteed right now. However, they are rapidly increasing in chance. That's the thing that's concerning, right? You have a rapid increase of chance and also have low confidence level on intensity. Those combos start to get you nervous about the situation. Storm surges, way too early to really kind of speculate upon. Lynn, it will be very dependent on how strong this tropical storm or hurricane is. Of course, with the strength of hurricane, the storm surge only extrapolates and exponentiates, gets higher and higher. So the stronger storm forecast you get, the worse is going to be. Right now, I think major storm surge is definitely not off the table, especially, of course, we get a strong hurricane. Something to monitor as we progress through into next week. Thank you guys. We hit over 5,000 likes. We are now making our way towards 10,000 likes. Really appreciate that. Currently, our top likers and supporters are Tufts Weather, Cool Cats, and Lynn. Really appreciate the support. And I appreciate the thanks in the chat. Keep the questions coming, guys. Again, we are in a Q&A session right now. I do apologize if I don't get to your question as fast as possible. We're doing general forecasting, also talking about big topics, some specific areas. But again, details are still a little bit hazy, but we're getting a little bit more clarity as we continue onwards. Thank you, Jazzy Pizza, for the donation. Really appreciate that. Got a good question. Yeah, and thank you, Sushi, for moderating and being a very amazing supporter. Unfortunately, TikTok does not allow you to be on the leaderboard. And thank you guys for following. Appreciate that. You guys are helping us reach 50,000 followers. Water temps, that's a good question. And how strong? So this kind of goes hand in hand, is water temps and how strong. I'll show you this graphic here. First, this is the departure from average. So right now, water temps are generally very warm. This is in degrees Celsius, just for this key on this right side of your screen. Obviously, there is a absolute ton of red and orange, especially along the Bahamas. This is why I think tomorrow and Saturday will be make or break for the storm strength-wise. Because look at all this heat it could tap into as it just slowly meanders northwestward. And the Bahamas, unfortunately, are not very mountainous. They don't provide any friction at the surface, and storms hate friction. Without the friction, they have free range to absolutely go wild, especially with temperatures like this. The only thing that really could keep it in check would be wind shear. Let's actually pull that up. Let me see if I can get that website up for you guys. But keep an eye on strength-wise that the number one ingredient, heat and energy, is there. Let's see if I can pull up. Why I hate when it like goes to a new like tab. It's like I didn't make a new tab. Like, why did you do that? Oh, why is it not pulling up? Weather hurricanes. Oh, there it is. See, it's at a perfect. Okay. So this is kind of, it looks a little clunky, but it's a really great website that shows some amazing things where we can start to pick apart factors for storm strength. And this is the first one I'll show you guys. This is what's called wind shear, which is the amount of the difference of wind as you go up with height in the air. So very strong wind. Storms hate very strong winds aloft. It basically rips them apart. It tears them apart. And hurricanes and tropical storms, of course, don't have brains, but they don't like them. Of course, they don't develop with them. And I have something to point out here. Notice where our current tropical wave is, and notice what environment it is moving into. That green is good for tropical storm environment. That is very, very low wind shear. And that is a complete runway right into the southeast United States. So right now it is dealing with some wind shear on this northeast side. That is why it's still struggling to manage and get fully tightened together. But that is concerning. That is extremely weak wind shear. Basically none. And wind shear will not be a helping factor to play strength-wise. It will not help us reduce the amount of strength that this storm can gather within just a few days sitting over very, very warm waters. So with that kind of little more tidbit of information, let's see if we have any more questions. Keep coming. I know I probably missed a few, so don't feel bad about typing it. I'm in the Outer Banks. When should I leave back home for Wisconsin to dodge the storm? I would say you don't need to evacuate just right now. I'd say you need to be watching the storm very closely. If you have any preparations in the Outer Banks that you can that will take longer than 3 to 4 days, I'd say do them tomorrow or as soon as possible. Monitor the forecast, monitor local events, but don't be surprised, Holly, if you do need to evacuate. I wouldn't say you would need to move all the way to Wisconsin to avoid this storm, but of course that is up to you. unfortunately, I cannot rule off, and I think there is a chance of evacuation from anywhere in the southeast United States as well. Yes, do not procrastinate. This is not something you want to procrastinate about. Be prepared, especially if we get surprised here. Again, if a lot of people are joining right now, we are looking at basically a map of where hurricanes are favorable to form. And take a look at this. The runway for our next tropical storm has green lights, unfortunately. We do not have red lights out there. It is straight gas, highways, and it might as well not even be lights out there. It is, unfortunately, a combination of low wind shear, very warm waters, about to see some pretty major action from this storm as it moves into this region here. As we're getting really close to 10,000 likes and also almost 50 new followers. If you are enjoying this forecasting kind of discussion here, if you wouldn't mind giving a follow, it really helps out support the page, as well as we're going to continue these daily updates. Every day we're going to have streams about the ongoing tropical threat. Of course, rainy day weather also posts daily updates, morning and nightly, for just in case you missed the streams, as well as a little shout out. There is a Discord right below me. The link right there. If you don't know what Discord is, a little kind of group chat, but with like a lot of people. I post lots of updates in there. I answer your guys' questions, and so both those things, following and Discord, if up to you guys. But I really appreciate the support and the likes. Goes a long way, and helps me keep going because I am a college student. So of course I'm pretty busy, but you guys make it worthwhile, and this is probably what I'd be doing anyways, looking at the forecast and sticking with you guys throughout this stuff here. What about coastal New Jersey? New Jersey threat has rapidly decreased. Still monitor the forecast for any surprises. However, I'd be very surprised to see risk start to increase in that region. What do you think hurricane look like from underwater? I've scuba dived before, so I'm thinking like you're in water. Well, think about those videos of like a camera underneath the water and the waves. Just think of like mountains of waves kind of moving above you. That's a very interesting question. I have not thought of that before. Sounds like rapid intensification can happen. That is exactly right. This unfortunately is a green light for rapid intensification. And if the wind shear continues to be weak, I 100% could see rapid intensification. You got the two ingredients that you need: low wind shear, very warm waters, and there you go. Here's another kind of model run here. Let's see what model we actually have on here. I believe this is a GFS. This is a website that kind of depicts where the streamlines, where the wind is flowing. Let's move this forward in time. See, I want to see the opinion from this one. Well, if it will, oh yeah, I gotta move it in time like this. So let's move it like a day. Let's see where's our time. Okay, so this is, we have time on here. Okay, so this is 27. So this is Sunday. You can see both of our storms now getting organized over the Bahamas, moving it forward in time, making a pretty large jump. It is 8 hours every time I click. So now we're moving into, this is Sunday kind of afternoon. Sorry, this is not Sunday. The last one was Saturday. And you can see both our storms pretty close to each other. Both of those streamlines interact with each other. Not much of the Fujiwara effect being modeled out by any storm or any model run that I've seen. It's just they're not getting close enough together to have a significant impact on each other. And that's where you can start to see obvious issues. This looks like the GFS model run. And you can see all that onshore flow piling up water on the northern side of the circulation, as well as all the moisture just being bulldozed into the north, north of the storm. So this includes the Carolinas as well. Well, guys, we're getting so close to 10,000 likes, guys. Thank you for hitting 10,000. Yeah, there it goes for me. Thank you for hitting 10,000 likes. Really appreciate that. Let me know if anyone else has questions on YouTube or TikTok here. We're currently looking at a future model forecast, and of course, it does not take a meteorologist to see the major problem that we are seeing. Do you think this will affect western North Carolina? Emily, I have a troubling forecast to show you, and that is our future rainfall models. And seeing some rainfall rates and rainfall totals into the 7 to 10 inches in western North Carolina. Of course, this has time to shift and change, but starting off with this kind of aggressive forecast does concern me for rainfall potential in the western portions of North Carolina. So put that on your radar for the next coming days. Timing is looking like Monday to Wednesday, a little bit later of a timing, a little bit of a broader of timing, because the actual hurricane or tropical storm needs to get onshore, and then it'll start obviously enhancing rainfall in that region. I'm in Richmond. Haven't seen much rain today, but it's cloudy. Yeah, cold front kind of just moved through that region. Probably a little bit of brief rain. I think this is pretty much your next. Actually, there is a cutoff low pressure that's sitting right around here. That'll probably bring some rain to you guys about Sunday morning to Sunday evening. So shout out to that. And then, of course, if this makes landfall, you'll see some very significant rainfall in the Virginia region. Thank you, Emily, for the donation. Very kind of you. Appreciate the support. Nice. I hope it's cold rain. Yeah, it'll be pretty cool. I wouldn't say it would be very cool, especially if it's tropical storm induced rain. What time on Tuesday will make landfall? If it does, exact timing. I mean, even our Tuesday timing is kind of fishy right now, so I really can't give a good timing on that. I'm gonna lean towards earlier Tuesday. However, vastly up to change on that one. I'm gonna answer. Okay, what's up with Charlotte? Not Charlotte. Gosh, Charlotte. Yes, Charlotte should be monitoring the forecast, especially for possible heavy rain in your region. We're talking about Charlotte right now on the latest European model has about 15 to 20 inches of rainfall over the next 7 days. So very, very significant rainfall, Carolyn. I would be watching that very closely. Thank you for hitting 10,000 likes, guys, and thank you, Cool Cats, Jillian, and Can You Can being our top supporters right now on the leaderboard. Really appreciate that. Also, we're only 10 followers away from 48,400. So I really appreciate the support, guys, and keep your questions coming. I am gonna actually step away just briefly so I can go refill my water, but then I'll be right back. It'll just be 1 second, guys. Like a graphic for refilling my water because I do it so often. But keep your questions coming and I'll answer them when I come back. All right, chair stream. I leave for 1 second and we get chair stream. How will Virginia get rain? Will it be outer bands or will it go up into Virginia? So if the model runs kind of stay with what they're saying, this is how it's going to look. So really the Euro wants to be very aggressive with bringing a pretty large rain shield on the northern side of the storm, because if you think of all this circulation, we have all this counterclockwise rotation is basically pulling all that moist air onto the region and then dropping it kind of near the Appalachian mountain chain as it gets condensed and cooled and then drops this rain. So putting that over a few days, you can see it rains actually for this model run has at least 36 hours kind of straight. Of course, deviations in the track could have vastly different consequences for amount of rainfall. That's why even areas inland in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia should be watching the progress of the storm, because let's say we get a weaker tropical storm, it's still going to bring that rainfall risk for the region. East coast of Florida out of the woods, I'd say not yet. And that's because if we have a close approach to the eastern Florida peninsula, you can start to have some major impacts as well. I could say guaranteed impacts for the eastern coast of Florida is at least coastal impacts. So that means hefty waves and rough surf across the entire east coast of Florida. Excuse me. I'm dying a little bit. Keep the questions coming, guys. Appreciate the support. We just hit 11,000 likes. Oh, man. We're only 2 followers away from 50 new followers this stream. If you're enjoying the content and want to become a Rainy Day Weather follower, join the family. Join the family of Rainy Day Weather fans. And let me know how you guys are doing. If you ran out of questions, let me know how your guys' week is doing. We're almost there. Tomorrow's Friday. Is high amount of rain the primary threat for the storm? We still don't know. I think SFA rainfall, I think, is the most guaranteed threat for this storm. The other threats like wind, storm surge, and wind are the ones where we need to be watching for because there's a lot more uncertainty. These tropical storms or hurricanes, they both bring very big amounts of moisture. Now, of course, the wind and storm surge vastly changes depending on strength. So the only reason I'm harping on rain is because it actually, in my opinion, it gets overlooked a lot on these forecasts. And B, it's the thing I'm the most certain about happening in the southeast United States. What does this image mean? This is looking at our future forecast for tropical Invest 94L, going to be eventually named a tropical storm Imelda, and it's showing the potential forecast kind of solutions for this region. And of course, you can see lots of the solutions solving out to possible impacts in the southeast United States, bringing what could be as weak as a tropical storm and as major as a major hurricane. So we're discussing that right now, having a Q&A session about impacts, what we know, what we don't know. And I see a lot of people join in right now, so let me know how you guys are doing and let me know what questions you guys have. Let me know if you're enjoying the stream. We'd really appreciate a like and a comment if you guys are enjoying it. Can the track shift over Florida? I think we're starting to run out of time for that to exactly happen. However, a close pass by Florida is definitely possible. So Florida is not out of the woods yet. Definitely be monitoring the situation for changes in the forecast. And once the center fully forms, then we'll have a really good idea of where this thing's going to go. Bradley said so. Probably no Eastern North Carolina hit. So this forecast here has a lot of time to shift. So don't take this verbatim. Like we can look at a little different ensemble member. Like for example, here's the Google AI, and you can see a few more ensemble members looking a little bit more northward. The big thing is somewhere along the southeast is rapidly increasing for impacts. And we're talking about as far south as Florida and as far north as like the Carolinas region for impacts. And unfortunately, there's just a lot of complexity still left to the forecast where we can't exactly nail down, oh yes, this is who's going to see the worst. This is who needs to be prepared. Really, some areas can start preparing, and everywhere in the southeast needs to be watching. Someone said that's fake. What could it mean? What is that? I like how you say that's fake, and then you follow it up with, well, it's fake because I don't understand it. That's quite entertaining. I got a question about Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach should be watching the forecast very closely for changes. The Outer Banks, Myrtle Beach, anywhere along this region from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and the northern portions of Florida should be monitoring for possible landfall, as it is definitely not for sure where this storm is going. Let's take a look at the live satellite imagery. Actually, let me hop over to the COD. You guys like COD? I should put a piece of COD on the page. My weather app says that I'm gonna get 50 minutes. Okay, so I have some unfortunate news. So your weather app uses let's just pick a model. It just uses one model. It's so simple, so simple. It goes on here, and it goes to the GFS, and it runs it. It just goes like this, and be like, oh, it's 8 p.m. on Monday night. Here's your 50-mile-per-hour winds. Well, unfortunately, the weather app is stupid. It is drastically stupid because it is not a meteorologist. It is a dumb code that just copies and pastes the wind speed. So, unfortunately, the weather app doesn't account for the complexities of the forecast, the ensemble members differentiating, and how intensities could be changing depending on exact track and wind shear. So your weather app can tell you what the temperature is going to be tomorrow. It is not a good source to rely on for tropical activity. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I don't know what that sounded like, but let me know if that sounded, you like rainy day weather ASMR right there. When is it supposed to form? Tomorrow morning into tomorrow evening. Exactly, weather app is always wrong. Well, especially for complex systems like this. Severe weather and hurricanes and snowfall rates, It is atrociously bad, right? I'm sure you guys all know the weather app are just default plug and chug codes that just copy and paste. Bad. Is that emoji allowed? I didn't see. Was there an emoji somewhere that I had missed? I did not see an emoji, sorry. If there was one. The cat? Oh, it's like not... Oh, the poop emoji. Oh, I see. I didn't see it like blended in with my background. Alright, guys. Do we want to place bets on where it's going? What? Okay. Everyone pretend you're a meteorologist right now. And I want to see what everyone is thinking right now. With all the things you've heard, or if you're just joining, put what state do you think is going to get hit? Or are you going to put no state? I'm just curious what everyone's leaning towards. Because I have my thoughts about, where this might hit. But of course, I honestly can't say for sure where we're going to see it. I just want to be curious what the general consensus right now is. Where do you guys think this storm is going to hit? We got Georgia, we got South Carolina. No state, maybe North Carolina. I like the answer of no state, but okay. Someone just said this isn't real. What isn't real about it though? I am curious. I'm a bit curious because I'm just curious because I want to hear you out before I totally, close you off. But this is literally the National Hurricane Center forecast map. So I'm curious to see what's your opinion on that. Either North Carolina and tracks into the eastern mountains of Virginia. Yep. I mean, I think no one knows, and that's the point, right? Is no one knows yet, and if anyone's telling you they know for sure, or if they're posting a model and saying, here's a GFS, here's exactly where it's gonna hit, here's when it's gonna hit, here's your storm surge, it's too early to tell. The good news is our forecast is becoming a little bit more clear, so we are getting a little bit more certain that southeast impacts are happening. Exactly where and how strong is still very much up in the air. Haven't the models been shifting more west? A little bit more west. There hasn't been a big jump, and we're about to get our 18Z models. So actually, a little shout out. In 2 hours, I'll be re-lived again. So I'm going to take a break here in a second, coming up here soon. And then I'm going to wait for the 18Z models to get initialized. So they're going to do their calculations, little math. And then we're going to go back live again. Just have a casual, kind of shorter stream and discuss the 18Z together. I'm literally not going to look at it before I go live. We're going to look at it together. I'm going to give you guys my opinion. You guys are going to give me questions or your opinions, what you think. And then we're going to see, because that's going to give us another model trend. Because, of course, the past 2 model runs have been basically guaranteed landfalls somewhere in the southeast United States. Another one would start to really solidify our kind of fate here. Bruh, I'm in Charleston. Yes. You need to be on high alert for possible tropical activity. I appreciate all those follows, guys. Welcome to the Rainy Day Weather family. Guys, look. Come on, make a round number. You know you want to. Is calculus useful? Unfortunately, I have to admit yes, because I am doing so much as a student meteorologist in dynamics right now. But is it fun? No. Yes to calculus. That's a great question to ask. Who thinks calculus is useful in chat? Okay, that's a good question first. But then also, who in chat has learned calculus and then also has never used it before outside of class? So 2 questions there. Is the pay good? I don't really know what you're referencing. If you're talking about my current job, I'm currently a student, so a lot of people do not like calculus in the chat. Calculus can be fun, kind of. Is geometry needed for meteorology? Not so much geometry. More trig, calculus, and differential equations. Those are the biggest things used. I use it to understand physics. Yeah, if you're an engineer, then I totally understand. I've took Calc 1 through 3 and differential equations and physics. Yeah, physics, mechanics, physics, E&M, and Chem 110, or Chem, basic Chem, and statistics, and so much fun. But the media classes are a lot of fun. The math is honestly the worst because of the math department at Penn State. But you didn't hear that from me. Oh gosh, I'm leaving to go to Myrtle Beach Saturday. Should I still go? Depending on your timeline, you're at least going to see some very rough surf, and you should be monitoring the forecast very closely to see if you're going to have impacts there. So I'd say there is a decent chance your trip should be canceled, or you should find other kind of plans as well. Keep a very close eye on the forecast. Where's the Hurricane Unk? That is crazy. I'm muting you for 5 seconds for that one. 5 seconds for that crazy comment. Where's the Hurricane Unk? And currently there is no hurricane, actually, and soon to be hurricane. And it's got off. We have not had a lot of cruisers tonight. I'm still waiting for the algorithm to remember. Oh, everyone who is on a cruise, come into the stream. There's a hurricane coming. Do Indy. So Indy, I don't think Indianapolis is going to see a hurricane come into the region. So I can give you that forecast. Stay safe out there. All regards, I think you guys are going to see some rainfall. I don't think there's any significant rain coming. I know. I mean, people always say that though from the tsunami stream. It's a pretty common thing. You're in Puerto Rico. Oh yeah, you're probably going to see some very major waves from major Hurricane Humberto here soon. I'm cruising Sunday. Oh gosh, good luck. I'm curious for where. Is he expected to become and then like tropical storm emoji? Yes, it is expected to become a tropical storm or hurricane within the next 48 hours. I think tomorrow night on our restream, we will be back with a tropical storm within the Bahamas. And I actually might get it as soon as tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for the forecast. I'll be the first one to post it when it gets released. So it was 6.7. Missed you though, my dude. I appreciate that. Yeah, you guys always crack me up. Who just come in like no context from the tsunami stream. Also, thank you guys for hitting the nice round number of 48,400 followers, guys. Can we get that to 50,000? We're trying to get there. I like really round numbers. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a big goal. Also, help support the stream. Big things coming to the rainy day weather. We will be live. I'm getting my schedule ready to be cleared for Monday and Tuesday if we have this thing make landfall. I'll be live during landfall, even if I have to skip a class, which, depending on how significant the class is, might be bad or might be good. But keep up the support, guys. I really appreciate it. As we're getting really close to 15,000 likes. So if you have fast fingers, show off. I also like to say the top supporters of the stream so far. Thank you, Cool Cats. Thank you, Justice is Coming. And thank you, Arctics, for the support, guys. Welcome all the Rainy Day Weather family who's been following. And let's add some more questions to this. Keep your questions coming. This is a Q&A session as well for those people who are coming in about the tropics. Again, we have a lot of websites up here. A lot of websites up here. And as you can see, lots of talking. I'm getting good practice of talking for like 2 hours straight. Of course, the tsunami stream was 7 hours straight, so I think I'll be hanging in there, right? Wrong pipe. All right. Sorry, I just died. Rest in peace. Whew, F in chat. Pay respects. All right, we're good. Oh, gosh. All right, we're locked in, guys. Sorry about that. Don't die is crazy. I'm trying not to die. Thank you, Carla, for the donation. Thank you, Julie, for the donation. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. Seeing a lot of people join. Of course, the moment I start dying, it's like, oh, TikTok is like, oh, everyone needs to come in to watch the stream right now and watch this guy die on water. That sounds so great. Got a question for the East Coast of Maryland. The East Coast of Maryland is starting to taper off with risk. Rainfall risks, though, are increasing for your mid to early next week. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the forecast. Still a lot of time for change, but starting to lean towards the way of no direct impact, at least wind speed-wise, in that region. Thoughts on leaving Wilmington, North Carolina to go to Miami for the weekend? Like, evacuate, you mean? Or just, like, go to Miami for a fun time? The weatherman is dying on water. Yeah, I'll try not to do that. I would not recommend any evacuations right now. It seems a little bit too early to say that. Just to make it clear on my end here. Now, I'm not saying that major impacts are off the table. I'm actually saying our window of impacts is very wide. So we have very high impacts possible, very low impacts still possible. But the floor is starting to inch up as we get more and more certain about impacts here. Will Florida get hit by 94L? Still a little too early to tell. I think we look at current hurricane models, that is very close for comfort. So we could have outer bands or outer convection impact, especially the eastern coast of Florida. However, a direct hit from the storm is very low chance. Very low chance. So keep monitoring the situation. Depending on how far shifts it happens, it could really make a difference, but I keep an eye on that. So, spaghetti models, this is exactly what we're on. This is the hurricane spaghetti models. We can look at a few different models, seeing a lot of more people join in as well. So let's go through the spaghetti models with everyone right now, since we're still waiting. I don't think any of the 18Zs are out. Let me check real quick. This is we have the Google AI that runs a little faster than everyone else. So this is the latest Google AI. Let's actually just animate GIF it because we're chill like that. We'll do 150 hours. We'll make it a GIF. And it's download the GIF. Download the virus to the computer. And we'll open up this little GIF here. And here is the spaghetti model for... So you can see the progress of the storm. This is the Google AI version. What the heck? That one... Did you see that one member, like, absolutely teleport? Hold up. I have just... Before we fully dive into it, did you just see that? Just watch. Is wait, on the eastern side, it's like one's just chilling, and then... Boom! Like, it's just... So I can tell you that's not going to happen because I don't think our storm's going to move 500 miles in 6 hours. But this, walk in again. So you can see both of our kind of disturbances here. On the eastern side, that's Hurricane Humberto. All that pink is its major hurricane status. The western side, the Google AI is being very aggressive on this storm, bringing it to the Bahamas by tomorrow, forming a tropical storm by tomorrow night, becoming a hurricane by kind of Saturday night, becoming a major hurricane by Sunday into Monday, and possibly making impacts into the Carolina coast by Monday to Tuesday. So this is what you get concerned about. Also, this is not in miles per hour up here. This is in knots. So if you're kind of trying to correlate with 100 miles per hour, it's actually a little bit different. It's about 140. So pink and red are kind of major hurricanes. Orange and yellow are a little bit more like hurricanes. Do we have any questions about the Google AI before we move on to a different model here? Will it affect Alabama? Alabama may see enhanced rainfall depending on how much westward it goes. So keep an eye on the forecast out in Alabama. I wouldn't say this is a wind threat for Alabama, but rainfall threat possible. Do you think it will go lower than 1007? You mean pressure-wise? I think it's definitely possible to go lower than that's like normal pressure. So let me know if you have clarification on that one. My parents are on a cruise. Oh gosh, where at? Hopefully, I mean the cruise liners know exactly what they're doing, so hopefully they're wanting the forecast. But the cruise people. Thank you, M, for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, please don't spam, guys. No need to spam. It's not too crazy in chat. I'll try to get to your question as quickly as possible. And for Georgia, we're looking at the impacts right now. So Georgia's right here, if you didn't know. And this is kind of the routes on Google AI. Not seeing any questions specifically about Google AI, so let's take a look at another ensemble model so you can get different opinions. Again, as a meteorologist here, you should look at different opinions from different computer models because they all have sort of weaknesses and strengths on prediction. So same type of setup. Let's go to our animated GIF so you can see how it plays out instead of just looking at a bunch of lines on the screen, which is not really fun and, you know, annoying. Oh gosh, I lost it. 150. Okay, there we go. Download another virus to the computer. And let's run it. So this is a Euro. It's done very well for some storms. It's done pretty well for this entire year overall. You can see bringing it to a little bit less aggressive, definitely a lot less aggressive than the Google AI version. Let's replay it again. So kind of working its way into the Bahamas region by tomorrow and eventually becoming a tropical storm within the next 2 to 3 days. So tropical storm getting formed and then impacts around the South to North Carolina region around tropical storm force strength. However, I want to point out lots of rainfall is still possible with this solution. And this is, I'd say, kind of the lower end solution here as well. The reason I say that is because my intuition in looking at the actual factors like wind shear and ocean heat content, those factors really signal to me that a strong hurricane or hurricane in general is very possible in this region. Also, another thing I like to point out, this is you get the insight, is the Euro has been undershooting strength all season. So I want to put a little eye on that. Doesn't mean it can't be right, but just something to keep in mind on if you want to select one model. You can't select one model to grasp on that's verbatim for right. That's a way to look out for. All right, any questions on the European model as the European ensemble? Again, we are getting a new run of this in about two hours. I will be live again in 2 hours to cover that new ensemble run with all of you. Going to Florida on Monday. You might see some impacts, at least depending on where you are in Florida, from outer bands. Any chance for southeastern Georgia? Yes, southeastern Georgia should be watching it incredibly closely, as possible direct impacts are not off the table for that region. Appreciate the follow, Nimby. Again, guys, if you're enjoying this update, if you wouldn't mind giving a follow and a like so we can get into the algorithm, get the word out. And let's look at the GFS one more time. We're gonna set the like goal for you guys for 20,000 follow or 20,000 likes. I'll name out the top supporters right now: Cool Cats, Honey Buns, and Julie. Thank you guys for being the top supporters right now. Top supporters are people who like the most, and I'll give a little shout out at 20,000 followers. So if you want to be named out by name, if you want to do that, it also helps me out as a solo creator. We like to reach as many people as possible so we can get the word out, and I really appreciate your support so much. Yada yada, AI, TikTok, beating the algorithm. Okay, moving on to our last kind of ensemble run before I move directly to your guys' questions. Let's go to our American model, good old America, and we'll download yet another virus, and let's take a look at the American model. Again, a different opinion. The American model, I do have to say up front, has not been performing very well this hurricane season. However, this one is aligning pretty well with our actual forecasts from other models. So that alignment, you see how all the ensemble runs have some sort of alignment with moving northward towards the Carolinas? The big change, the big difference is intensities. That alignment is confidence. So our confidence is gaining that we're going to see impacts somewhere within this range when the storm moves north. However, the American model, never do that accent again, is crazy. And that really threw me. The American model is bringing a hurricane. Most of the ensemble models are hurricane strength, about Cat 1, into the southeast United States. Will this affect Southeast PA? At this current moment of our understanding, Southeast PA will probably not have a direct impact. That goes for anyone in the northeastern coast of the United States. Your chances for impacts is drastically decreasing. It's not completely off the table. However, our models are kind of hooking onto this kind of idea here. How bad will this affect Western North Carolina? So, for my friends in Western North Carolina, unfortunately, this comes at a time where we're a year, I'm sure you already know, about a year away from Hurricane Helene impacting the region from rainfall. And one thing I don't want to overlook when we're stating this, guys, is rainfall possibilities with this storm is very high. And looking at this forecast by the Euro model, again, there's a lot of chance for this actual bullseye of rain to shift north and south because, of course, our center of circulation, depending where that goes, draws in the rain. Look at these rainfall rates over the next 7 to 6 days. We're talking about rainfall inches into 15 to 20 inches of rain, especially in localized area. You might see 2 feet of rain. This is what concerns me, honestly, the most right now because it's the most certain impact is rainfall. But the question is, where is that rainfall going to fall? And this does concern me for the entire state of North Carolina. So where you are in North Carolina, I saw a lot of questions about specifically where we are in North Carolina. This is the sneakiest threat, yet again, for a possible landfalling tropical storm or hurricane. This is the latest Euro run. Of course, there's a lot of time for this to move north or south, but significant rainfall is definitely a very large risk in this coming weeks here. Coming days, I should say. What category is it predicted to be? It's too early to tell. As I said, we just went over all the ensemble models, so it's very difficult to pin down exactly what we're going to see. I do have to give you a range. Highest range, though, is major hurricane category strength because the heat index, the energy available is there. The lowest is tropical storm force, just in case the actual storm doesn't get organized. It is possible where you see a tropical storm. But other than that, that's kind of our range right now. Tropical storm to major hurricane. Unfortunately, I can't give you any better answer than that. Monitor the forecast for more changes than that. We are Penn State. Appreciate that. Let's go. State, hopefully we win. We got also blizzard warning out for Center County in State College for Sunday or Saturday. Be ready for that. Blizzard warning. Whiteout conditions are possible and likely. Is it too soon to zoom in on one of the potential flooding locations? I would say too soon. Yes. This general blob of rain has a lot of chance to shift around. So I wouldn't prefer sitting on an exact location saying, okay, this location is going to see very significant rainfall. But the blob is very large. and the rainfall range is very large. You're funny. Okay, I'm going to pin that comment. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Funny comments will now get pinned from here on out. Savannah, Georgia should be watching the forecast very closely. And Charlotte should also be watching the forecast, not only because we were talking about that main point is that very significant rainfall risk for wherever the storm lands. And Charlotte should be also watching for the same exact reason as well. Savannah, Georgia, also watching for that rainfall, but also watching for possible landfall, wind, and surge in Savannah is also something you need to keep an eye on, especially if we're going to get more and more confidence, obviously, as we go. But if we get a strong storm, I'm sure you're going to have the local officials and whatnot, but we'll have storm surge forecasts out, we'll have evacuation routes out, and hopefully this doesn't happen, but it is becoming more and more likely every model run we go on to as we continue onwards. Appreciate all the support, guys, and the questions. And we are almost at 80 new followers for today. So if you've liked this content, Rainy Day Weather does have these daily updates, these daily Q&A sessions. I really like them. I hope you guys, let me know in the comments down below if you're enjoying this type of format. If you'd rather have me just speak about the storms or you enjoy this kind of back and forth. The follows really help support me and let me know that you're enjoying this type of format. And also lets TikTok know, so TikTok supports this as well. So I really appreciate that. Likes and follows go a long way. And let's keep the show on the road. Again, we're going to go for a little bit longer. Then I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to let our models run. Then at 11 p.m. or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be back live just briefly to discuss new model runs, trends, and what else we might be seeing. National Hurricane Center should be doing an update also at 11 p.m., so we'll discuss that as well. Is Humberto going to turn in Florida? No, that is not a risk we are monitoring. We actually look at future major hurricane Humberto's forecast count here. Looking at the forecast count here, we have hurricane by tomorrow, Friday afternoon. Right here where my cursor is. That's designated by the H. That M means major hurricane will be with us. Again, this is a really crazy season because this will be our third hurricane. And if you're not counting, this will be our third major hurricane. So far this season, every single hurricane that has formed has either been forecast to be a major hurricane or has become one. Very odd. That is usually between 10 and 20% of storms become major hurricanes. It's actually very, very small segment, and it's just been a very odd season. So that also is another factor that makes me nervous for our other disturbance out to the west. Is we've been having some pretty crazy storms this season, and this storm looks like the main likelihood of this storm is it will move between the goalposts, as they like to say, between Bermuda and east of North Carolina. Of course, our other storm, don't forget about it, will be kind of going in this range at that time. So we'll let you guys know. Someone just said fake news to a National Hurricane Center forecast cone. I don't think we can win ever, but I'd love to hear. The other person just immediately quit when I asked them, but smiley face, please let me know. Well, because I like to hear you out. Why do you think this is fake news? Because I want to address your concerns. Jamaica for Wednesday. As of right now, no travel concerns out there. Where is the hurricane names? If you go to, it's never accurate. So that's just like such a sweeping, like full-on motion of like, oh no. It's never worked before. The actual National Hurricane Center has been performing very well of lately. It's been very perfect on Hurricane Gabrielle, Hurricane Aaron. So if you want to avoid these warnings, that is totally up to you. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But if you want to be weather aware and hear professional opinions and look at graphs like this, then you are welcome to join. And of course, with your rebuttal, you're asking me what exact city is the storm going to hit. And wow, great comeback there. The forecast is calling for some northward well, this one you can see we're probably be avoiding it just because of the general motion. But let me just give a little bit of a breakdown here. I would like to address your concerns. As a meteorologist, right, we don't like to just sit on one model and don't sit on one range. We look at why the hurricane moves there. We look at the details. What is pushing it there? So and the main reason our forecast has been changing here, we're being more certain of impacts, is what's called our high pressure and low pressure map. Basically, the driving forces in this system. The hurricanes are like car or like bumper boats with no wheels, no controls. They're only just moving around. And the things that move them around are high pressures and low pressures. A simple way to think about it is a low pressure is a marble sitting on a table. Or our storm is a marble sitting on a table. So for example, here's our marble right here. That's where our future storm that I'm mostly worried about, that is going to be future tropical storm Imelda, probably with us tomorrow. Our marble is sitting and is waiting to go downhill. However, there are hills around here that are called high pressures. High pressures are designated by the red in this map. So the red is the large hill. Just think of the marble. It does not want to go up the hill. It hates the hill. So as we progress in time, we've had this high pressure just sit and guide rail it into the southeast United States. And right there you have a direct impact in the southeast United States. Now the problem with this is the guardrails and exact positioning of them is very hard to determine because, of course, the atmosphere is moving. So, that's hard. Butterfly effect, all that, whatnot. But now we are getting to the point where we're having repetition. We're having more confidence in where it's going. That's why right now, rainy day weather's official position is southeast impacts are very possible, very likely within the next 5 to 6 days. And that is why we're here. I'm not on here telling an exact city is getting a major hurricane. That is just not true. If someone's saying that to you, I can understand why you feel misled. But I'd love to actually hear if any other questions come to that, because that's why we're here. Because we do know stuff. We know these general large factors are going to cause issues, and these general factors in play when the trends are going to give us good guidance on how to forecast. However, it's not going to be perfect. So with that, and I'm not really looking at the chat, so I don't know what's exactly going on here, but smiley face. Is there any other concerns or any other things I could say to possibly try to entice you to believe that we have a little bit more of a grasp on things? I mean, models have been doing decently well. There are limitations, I admit, but they're better than just looking at the sky and being like, well, there's probably a hurricane out there somewhere, and, I don't want any warning. Yeah, great points, guys. I mean, weather forecasts are never completely right, but they do provide a lot of useful information. And if I have anything to fully support that, it is large insurance companies hire meteorologists. Big money hire meteorologists. Walmart have logistic meteorologists. It's because this is money. If meteorologists didn't know anything, then who would hire them? We'd be jobless. I'd be homeless. So, also, last kind of soapbox moment there. Thank you, Coastal, for the donation there. Really appreciate that. Guys, we're getting close to 100 new followers this stream, and also really close to the round number of 48,500. So if you've been enjoying that stream or enjoying that little argument with Smiley Face, let me know. And we're going to answer a few more questions before I take a little bit of break. Again, last call, I'll remind at the end of the stream, but I'll be back live in about 2 hours, around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to to go through the new forecast models, look at the trends, look at what I'm seeing, and answer a little bit more questions. Get back to me next week when the grass is drier than ever. Oh, Smiley Face. My Smiley Face, will you commit to be on the stream next week? Are you following? Because I want you to be back if we are live streaming the landfall and when people have to evacuate if possible. Because you gave a follow. I appreciate that. Hopefully you're a man or woman of your word, and we'll see who's right here. Because right now, I'm not saying 100% chance of landfall, right? But the model consensus right now is we are working our way towards that, and we're becoming almost confident of that answer. Probably by tomorrow afternoon, we'll have a almost concrete answer on that. But everyone, we'll try to follow up on that with Smiley Face. I do appreciate the follow, and I hope you don't just block me if something does happen. Let's hope nothing happens, right? We're not hoping for something to happen, but these models help us here, and completely coming into a stream and saying they're fake and it doesn't work is not helpful, because there is so much, we've invested so much money, so much time, so much research, so much brain power. To throw away such a useful tool is silly. All right, let's get back on topic, answer some real questions here before we kind of wrap it up here soon. Hope you guys enjoyed that. My parents are near West Palm Beach in Florida on their cruise. Well, it depends on where their cruise is going. If their cruise is going anywhere near the Bahamas, they'll probably be rerouted, especially if they're going this weekend. But yeah. And then going on the Gulf after all. Nope, Caitlin, for the next 7 days, the Gulf is all clear. And looking a little bit more longer range, still not seeing anything Gulf-wise. This thing is predicted to make landfall. Cody, right now, general model consensus is some landfall between the southeast region. This is the hurricane models. That is not guaranteed just yet. However, confidence is rapidly growing of some sort of landfall somewhere in the southeast within the next 4 to 5 days. Smiley face, I think that is an incredibly crazy reach of a comparison. I'm not going to lie. That is incredibly, I mean, like, it's just a huge reach. But I'm happy to educate and inform you, you know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, right? I really hope you're there, though, because I have made a promise that I will be live streaming during that event if we get a landfall, and I hope to have you there so you can come support everyone who's evacuating if needed or if we need to give information out. But we'll see. Now we got a little challenge here. It's meteorologist versus random TikToker. Meteorology student. I should put an asterisk there. I do apologize. Nothing ever happens. Oh, great. We got another one. So, guys, just because this season's been very quiet, which I do admit has been very quiet, does not mean this entire season will be quiet. This storm, out of the entire year, has been the most confirmed, most confidence we've had that we're having impacts. I mean, even the National Hurricane Center right here is saying U.S. U.S. threats for the U.S. East Coast are increasing. Interest in the area should monitor progress of the system. So, I think the rage baiters are in the chat right now, I'm not going to lie. Someone from New York is due for hurricane. Heck no, we are happy where we are. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a threat for New York. It's really far away, and no one is due for a hurricane. No one needs it. So is Myrtle Beach going to be a part of the landfall? It is definitely in the range of possibilities for landfall. Be really weather aware in that region as we continue every day. I like quiet falls. I hate hurricanes. Yep, the quiet word has been said too much, and now we're paying the price. What is the predicted category of the hurricane? Jordan, is too early to tell. Model range is very vastly wide, and before our actual center of the circulation is fully formed, our models are not too good at depicting what intensity it is. So check back with me tomorrow morning. We'll have updates on that, but tomorrow night, also check back with rainy day weather. We'll have more updates for you. Hopefully better forecast for strength-wise. Good question. Will storms join together? Current model trends have the storms being far away enough for no interaction. Not rage baiting, just the weather app is wrong. So much saying it's happening is just wrong. So that's so funny because I was just bashing the weather app for being wrong. And I have a great reason for that. The weather app uses what's called a deterministic model, what you're seeing right here, and just picks your point and just moves it along. It doesn't use a brain. It doesn't think of when models are wrong. It doesn't think of fail modes for things. It doesn't think of how positions are working. So it's basically like throwing a dart at a dartboard, and you're like 100 feet away from the dartboard, especially with complicated systems like hurricanes. And that is why using the weather app to forecast for hurricanes is terrible. Terrible idea. I mean, it's too complicated, right? The weather app's just like, I'm stupid, because it is. I hope you guys are enjoying this. But yes, the weather app, we're not the weather app here, guys. We are rainy day weather. I lived through Sandy, so I'm always nervous about late season storms. Yep, I always got to be watching out for them, but hopefully and most likely mid-Atlantic region looking all right. Fujiwara effect mentioned. It is possible, but the current model trends has the storms being far away enough apart that the Fujiwara effect will be minimal. After you suggest instead, well, Brittany, for complicated systems like this, I recommend always going to the National Hurricane Center and looking at this website. They have tons of free resource information. I mean, it's the government, and they have amazing meteorologists there. They have depictions like this. They'll have forecast cones up. They'll have exact warning times. Another reliable source, at least I like to think so, is of course rainy day weather. I post stuff like this. I give you guys insights with my professional background and my background of knowing all these things and having even though I've only been in school for 3 years, I've been watching models as well, learning from other people online. I've met with many meteorologists and talked with meteorologists in school and talked with meteorology students. So building that background, Randy Day Weather has a pretty solid following. Of course, lots of people relying on updates as well. Where is the best place to find latest spaghetti models? My favorite website, not sponsored at all. If you go to Weather Nerds, it's funny. Just search up Weather Nerds. It'll pop up. Then you can navigate different sort of model runs out here. They have the Euro, they have the American, they have the Google AI, and it gets all the spaghetti models. Is, my opinion, the best. I live in the OBX, and the reason I say this all is because we get false alarms. Thanks for educating me on the map. Of course, smiley face. And, the Outer Banks is a very tricky spot to forecast for, right? Because if you get something to hit that region, of course, it's a huge deal. But it's also not the biggest place. And it's also in an area where it's sticking out, so it's harder to fully forecast for. So I can really understand the frustration there. And unfortunately, that's just the reality of our current technology. Is there are mishaps. I mean, that's what's going to happen. There are going to be false alarms. However, we've gotten to the point of technology where I think within 5 days, within 4 days, you can start to rely on the forecast a little bit more than that's what we said 20 years ago, because we've just become so much better. Of course, there is so much to learn, but the technology at the ground level is amazing because of how complicated weather is. Can storms go up the East Coast and regain strength, change directions, and go back in another area? That's a pretty good question. So I think you might be talking about how the storm was modeled to stall off the Carolinas coast and like pop off and then come back in. That actually is possible. This might remind some people of a hurricane, Hurricane Harvey. Anyone remember that one? That was a hurricane that actually drove itself into Texas. I'm sure many people already know this. Drove itself into Texas. It stalled right in there, and of course just pulled. It was a conveyor belt of moisture, and actually re-entered the Gulf, strengthened again, and then re-went into inland again. Change in direction is very possible, and the hurricanes are very at the will of the outer kind of the outer structure of the high pressures and low pressures. Thank you, Sushi, for the link. And Ken, okay, we got that one. Suggestions for College of Charleston students. Well, I got some good news for the College of Charleston, especially if you're there or you have family members there. These colleges along the coast have very great game plans if something comes into play. I'm sure they're already meeting round the clock about these storms because, of course, there's a huge amount of liability. So right now, for anywhere, I'd say monitor the forecast. Of course, as a student, I don't think there's much long preparedness you need to do. I think for some areas, some houses, you need preparation where you need like 3 to 4 days of preparation. So if you're in the Southeast, maybe start doing that. As a student, really not much you can do. Maybe if you don't like class, hope that you don't have class. But other than that, follow the advice of the university. Our emergency managers have gotten really good at knowing exactly what to do for this. This is not going to be something that is out of the picture, like crazy, like unexpected. However, it has the capability of being impactful. Any risk of Long Island right now is pretty low. Not looking at like something making its way up there. Okay. So let's hit North Carolina. North Carolina is one of the main targets for possible impacts. It's still early to tell. If I had to draw a forecast cone out right now, I'd say North Carolina down to the northern panhandle of Florida are areas that need to be rapidly watching for the storm, as of course tiny shifts can rapidly change the forecast. Pennsylvania, no, I don't think so. I pretty much can write you guys off for being all right. Appreciate all the people coming in. We are really close to 25,000 likes, guys. If you really have fast fingers and you want to get us over there. Also, we're almost at 100 new followers. So if you guys are enjoying these updates, have any more questions, followers do get kind of special priority in the chat. So if you have a follow, that it really would be amazing. And we have these updates every night for significant impacts. So remember that as well. I appreciate your support. As a solo creator, the likes and the follows go a long way into helping the page, of course, battle the almighty algorithm of the TikTok. So it really goes a long way. And of course, last thing I have to mention is our Discord's right below me. If you're interested in joining that is our community where I announce exactly what I'm going to stream. I also discuss with you guys in channels. And that's a nice community. It's just kind of like a special thing if you want to join it. There's like 400 people in there. We hang out. We talk about the tropics, and I appreciate the support. It's really casual, so you don't have to know anything about weather at all. It's just like people who are curious about what's going on. Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville should be watching the forecast as well. I think outer bands are possible, and especially rough seas. Rough seas are basically guaranteed along the entire East Coast, no matter what happens. Do you think Myrtle Beach will be okay? Myrtle Beach should also be watching the forecast very closely for any direct impacts. Do you know a Chris Parker? I do not believe I do. Great, that's where I'm at. Can a hurricane travel west to east? Yes, Tony. A good example of this is Hurricane Milton. You may remember last year, Hurricane Milton formed in the western portions of the Gulf. He moved eastward. Weather guru. Surprised. Yeah, I know a lot of people in the weather community, but not like a crazy ton. So, Savannah, Georgia should be watching out for possible impacts. You're definitely on high alert. I think you should be very high alert and see what the forecast cone is going to look like tomorrow. If you have any preparations in Savannah, Georgia that take longer than 3 days, I'd say maybe start to think about doing them, because if the forecast cone gets on you, let's say tomorrow, you might have less than 72 hours before impacts start to reach you. So keep an eye on that. Actual meteorologist for boating, ... Yeah, I don't follow like marine traffic too often. So, are they mostly online? I'm curious about that. Will the southeast be okay? The southeast should be on high alert for direct tropical impacts possible. And thank you guys. We just hit 100 new followers for this stream. Really appreciate that. Also, we're getting close to that round number, 48,500. Really appreciate the support. And here's the latest hurricane map, hurricane run for the map here. And this has subject to change. It's just the latest run, and showing you really the models are trying to grasp on our storm strengthening, moving northward, and then merging with a lower trough, a low pressure that's sitting right over the kind of Carolinas, western Carolinas, and the Tennessee region. And the trough and the low pressure is basically a hurricane magnet, so we'll pull it up into the northwest. Samantha, I don't really actually remember that. I'd like the context on that. Well, a module shows a direct hit to me, unfortunately. Yeah. There's still a lot of change on those forecasts, but you have to keep a very close eye on how they trend wise. Generally speaking, the actual ensembles are somewhere between North Carolina and the South Georgia coast. Have you ever heard about weather changing? But yeah, that's a good point. If you were banned, how are you on the stream right now? I actually don't remember them. So I'm being honest too. I don't remember. Of course, there are a lot of people in chat, so I don't remember. What's the website you're using? Do you have a link? Sharpie, can you let me know which one you're referencing? Were you referencing the past one, or are you referencing the current one? I'd love to help you out there. I'll post it in the chat here the moment you give me that answer there. Will be Cat 1 at landfall? Still early to tell. And great question. This is the National Hurricane Center website. If anyone wants to check this out for themselves, this is an amazing government website. So this is the National Weather Service, the top of the top, the cream of the crop, to give us our predictions on where things are going. If anyone wants to take a look at that, there it is in chat. Save it. Of course, you don't have to wait for me to post it. I post it also on Rainy Day Weather as well, if you like it better that way, with explanation, because sometimes it can be a little bit confusing, posted by the National Hurricane Center without much context. Will this be gone by Dominican Republic this weekend? Yeah, this should start to lift away from the Dominican Republic within the next 12 to 24 hours. What hurricane? Well, we're thinking that Humberto is about to be a major hurricane, but here is a forecast cone for that. Excuse me. And this one is the one we're concerned about possibly being a hurricane. That is AL94. It will get a name of Imelda tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening. Appreciate the support, guys. I'm going to wrap up the stream here pretty soon, so if you have a last second question, Before you go, just a reminder, I'm going to be live again. Yes, I'm going live again tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the new update, because our models I've been showing you tonight are rerunning in about 30 minutes. So they'll run, they'll be done, and then I'll hop back on. I'll discuss them with you guys. We'll discuss it together, and then I'll be a little bit more brief than this one. And then also in the future here in the next coming days, I will be live discussing this with you guys, walking you through every step of the way, answering your guys' questions, as of course, this event has the potential to be significant. It still has the chance to spare us, and we will be watching it every step of the way. And just giving you that extra time. If you're thinking about preparations, this is what's... We're getting a lot of hate this stream. I don't know why everyone is hating the National Hurricane Center. See, this is what is making me worried, guys. Is we have our first real threat of a major storm impacting the United States, and we've had a very quiet season. So we've had a lot of people this stream who have been very complacent about ignoring the watches and the extra time that we're giving. So that's honestly the most concerning right now, is because it's been a quiet season, but just because it has been a quiet season does not mean we'll end that way. Yeah, the National Hurricane Center and I try to do my best. We give you what information we know, what information we don't know, and how we can prepare the best. You really think it's going to make landfall? In my professional opinion, I think the chances are rapidly increasing of a landfall somewhere in the southeast United States. I cannot 100% say for sure, but I am leaning towards yes, because of our current model trend across the board on the European, the American, and the Google AI, all showing some sort of impacts in the southeast United States. Of course, those impacts will vastly range, and we still have a lot to learn and know. But I'm starting to get more confident that we can start to say southeast impacts are coming. Are we sure Humberto is heading away from us? It's not fully guaranteed just yet. I mean, obviously this forecast going gets pretty close to the North Carolina region. But the forecast is so complicated with our other storm as well, it really is impossible to say. Out of 5 days, it'll be really tough. If landfall, when expected? We're talking about Monday through Tuesday kind of range for timeline. I put timefall on that timeline there. So Monday is the earliest time we'd start to see impacts, at least indirectly. Will you send Discord notifications on the 11 p.m. live? Should I? I kind of feel bad about waking everyone up if I add everyone. Let me know if I should. A what cat still up in the air. I'm hoping by tomorrow night I'll have a better forecast for you guys for intensity, and hopefully our ensembles start to figure their lives out. Thoughts on 94L? That's exactly what we've been talking about. I am worried for southeast landfall, and I think it's definitely possible. And here's the latest, or kind of the latest GFS run. And you can see this is major hurricane Humberto and future hurricane, possibly tropical storm Imelda. It would not hit by Saturday. No model is showing that type of speed. Earliest, I mean, it is modeled to forecast. I'll show you guys the model run here. It's forecasted to accelerate on the end of its trail here. So, depending on how fast that goes, could really impact the way it actually goes, because the trough starts to disappear as we get later into time. The magnet per se, and the faster it goes, the faster the impacts will be. This website or this website? I'm assuming this one because there's a little bit of a delay, I'm assuming. Mother Nature is crazy. Yes, this one is called Tropical Tidbits right here. So this is actually a tropical tidbit graph. But I'll post the link right here. You can explore it. To get to that exact, that was our hurricane model ensemble. To get to that exact hurricane model ensemble, what you need to do is go to current storms, and then go to our 94L on the left here. You can't see it off my screen. And then has current satellite view, current tracks, and then current predictions for strength-wise. Keep it with a grain of salt, though, because the center has still not fully formed. So, again, the intensity tracks are going to be a little wacky right now. I just dropped the link. Should be above you, Sharpie. And the link not show, or because sometimes TikTok does not like me posting links. Let me know if the link showed. I don't know why TikTok is like, oh no, someone posted a link, but it's literally me. Would love to see what it looks like from space when that happened. No link. Okay, I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, I think you would have to join the Discord to get that link from me. Or actually, you can DM me on TikTok. I'll shoot it to you after the stream. Just let me know which one you want. We can take a look at from... This is from space. This is looking at long wave IR. So this is looking at the infrared light. And a little bit more basic, this is looking at the temperature of the cloud tops. The colder the cloud tops, the stronger the thunderstorms. And you can see here, red is pretty cold, and the white and the purple is very cold, indicating very strong thunderstorm activity, especially right over kind of the Haiti region in the Dominican Republic. Our circulation sitting right about here, so you can see our storm is very unorganized right now. Lots of time for change as we continue the forecast onwards. If the two storms collided, would it be Imelda? That is a good question. So I think the current way they do that is whatever storm is stronger when they collide, I think that keeps the name. It's like they battle out, and they're like, okay, that one won. Okay, guys, so I unfortunately do have to end the stream. I'm gonna go and run, get some dinner, get some water. But again, last reminder here, I will be back live. I'm putting in chat live between 11 and 11:30 EST to look back at 18Z models, because the 18Z models are about to run. You ask why can't I just stay on? It's because unfortunately I have to go to a campus weather service shift, so I have to go to a Penn State weather shift. So it's like another job, but it's hanging out and doing some forecasting for Pennsylvania. Then I'll be back on live to discuss that briefly. Won't be that long. But yeah, if you're you like scrolling on TikTok late, go ahead, resume scrolling. Actually, I'm going to answer just a few more questions. Maybe actually, let's do one more question. One more question, and then I'll let you guys resume scrolling, and then hopefully you'll scroll, and then when you see 11 o'clock hit, you can come back and join, and we can look at the models together. But anyone got a very good question that pertains to a lot of people would be nice. And quick one I can answer, Lynn, is when is the next National Hurricane Center update? That will be 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Landfall day, if one did make landfall, we're talking between Monday and Tuesday. Central Florida definitely could feel outer bands. And one more. These are all kind of like shorter answers. That's why I did a few. Also, last chance to follow. If you want to come back, and if you've been enjoying the stream, which we're getting close to 30,000 likes. Thank you guys so much for that. Please shoot me a follow. And we have these updates daily. So and also posting updates morning and nightly. Enjoy your dinner. Appreciate that. All right. Not seeing any general questions here, so appreciate all the support, guys. I will see you just in a little bit. And take a little break here, and hope you enjoy your scrolling or enjoy whatever you guys are gonna go off to. I'll see you in a little bit. So it's just saw a lot of people join in, guys. We're gonna be live in just about an hour, so follow real quick if you want to have more questions answered. Okay, I'm putting up everyone's favorite imagery. Okay. You guys have like 15 seconds before I end the stream. I'm going to mute myself and walk away dramatically.